If, like, my kids could, sell methamphetamine, right? But if they tell me, hey, Dad, I'm selling methamphetamine, I'm like, you know what? Give me a 10% cut and you're all good.
And that's on record, kids.
Oh.
Welcome back to the watch, and welcome Nathan back to the studio.
Where were you?
I was off fighting demons.
Fighting inner demons.
Inner demons.
Nothing worse than inner demons. Because inside you, it's really hard to get at. Unless you have a knife and bravery.
Luckily, I don't have either.
You have... I'm sure you've got a knife at home.
True. Nice diss.
What's happening right now? What is this?
Oh, this is nightly news.
Where am
This
I?
is We're in the Night's Watch, and it's a bit hot in here. I think we need to turn the aircon on. I think we need another interruption. Because I'm feeling a bit clammy. Alright, hopefully.
No more interruptions?
No more interruptions.
It's like someone keeps knocking on your door at your wedding night. You would know you had one recently. Did that ever happen?
No one knocked on the door. People knew.
Yeah.
It's like when we left, well, no one could find us either. We disappeared. Into the night.
You came back?
The next day, yeah, we resurfaced, but
Oh, no, well...
I'm not getting into that. Anyways, welcome back to Nightly News. We're the Night's Watch.
Yep.
Where we react to news stories, headlines, and stuff we've heard.
Yeah.
We're not a news source.
We're not a news source,
We like
no.
to clarify with people. Don't use us as a source in your school essays or projects
Yep.
or at work. Although, you know what? If we get quoted in a news article, I'd be pretty impressed.
Yeah.
Or utterly terrified because that was not a good...
No, I disagree. I really hope that someone attempts to cancel me like a journalist.
Oh, yeah.
Because then I've literally reached, like, my heroes, Sargon of Akkad, Count Dankula. I've reached their level at that
You've reached
point.
your peak.
It's literally a rite of passage.
Yeah.
And so...
You haven't gotten there yet, but
Yeah.
time will tell.
One day, hopefully, I'll say something so offensive.
So offensive
Yeah.
that the YouTube algorithm will recognize it and just get all the lefties onto it.
Yep. Commie ninjas will come after me. So, speaking of commie ninjas...
Yes, let's get into some news stories.
Yeah.
So the first one here that you've sent me is that Marty O'Donnell and Michael
Salvatore.
Salvatore are suing Microsoft. Now, who are these people and why are they suing Microsoft?
Well, personality-wise, the dynamic is a lot like us. You would be Michael Salvatore.
Oh, really?
I'd be Marty O'Donnell because I'm an arrogant prick.
That works.
Who's, one artistic job description is like they're very good at and everything else. No, kidding. Marty O'Donnell is a musical genius.
What has he done?
All of the Halo music.
Okay, so he's done the Halo music. Just letting
and
people
Destiny.
know, if you don't know about our channel, who we are, we do Halo stuff. And so
Yeah.
if you're not in...
Well, I do, and I've dragged everyone else along with me.
I mean, it's the same with Wheel of Time, when that came out
true.
as well. And I'll drag you all to some stuff when it comes out.
Star Wars, like what?
Last Airbender by Netflix, I think, is going to be a big one for me.
Yeah, that series kind of cursed, isn't it? It's like, no, but that's the thing, it had the original thing,
Yeah.
and then every time someone's tried to redo it...
Or maybe we can talk about that as well with another news story later down the track. But I want to resurface back to this suing Microsoft.
Yes.
Why are they suing?
Because, basically, back in the day, the very, very...
Back in the early 2000s?
Back in 1999.
Or
All that time ago.
was it Y2K?
Well, if it was pre-2000, then yes. Yeah, because after the year 1999... Anyway... Maths, people.
Okay.
Basic common maths. There was a agreement that was written up for the very first Halo game. Basically worked like this. Michael Salvatore and Marty O'Donnell have a joint company. It's called, like, Salvatore O'Donnell Inc. or something like that, right? And it said, okay, we're making the music for your game, and you're leasing the rights to that music from us.
Which is how a lot of game music is produced.
Yeah.
That's one of the common economical ways of making music.
Yeah, it's called I'm not sure what the acronym is, right? But there's an artistic union, and this is like a common thing for that union.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when Bungie bought Microsoft, and this agreement was in place for a year before Microsoft bought Bungie.
Yep.
And just because you buy a business doesn't void the contracts.
Yeah.
And so that was in place. Microsoft bought Bungie. Marty O'Donnell did sign an employee contract, but on the back of it he wrote, "By the way, this is under a different contract, not work for hire. We own these tracks, and that was that, right?" And then for 20 years, every once in a while, I'd bring up like, "Guys, can we please sort this out? Can we please sort this?" For 20 years, nothing. So, I can't remember what he said that spurred the whole, "Hey, let's finally sue these guys," because they've been separated for a while. But I'm glad he did it, because screw Microsoft, screw 343, screw the Halo TV show. And that's, in fact, why the Halo TV show doesn't have Halo music.
Yeah, well, I've noticed that.
Yeah, because they put an injunction to stop it from being used in the music.
Yeah.
Which, like, you might say, yeah, we're getting an inferior quality product from the Halo TV show. But that's like saying, someone taking the corn out of your turd makes your turd worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking on Spotify because I was listening to some Halo music the other day.
Based. Which one? Which game?
Halo 2.
Good. Okay.
I was
the best soundtrack.
walking to the train station listening to the theme, just oh, so good. But yeah, it looks like it is. So the artist is Marty O'Donnell, but the copyright looks like it's going back to Microsoft.
That's not correct.
So
they should sue Spotify as well.
Well, I'm guessing it's going to be royalties for any time the track is used. Because I assumed, you see Marty O'Donnell on Spotify listening to that stuff, that money is going to go towards him. But obviously not if it's owned by Microsoft Corporation.
Yeah.
They probably take a cut and then they're meant to obviously
they got to pay out. They got to pay it forward.
Actually, let me see. I'll check some other, because there's the one of the other game musicians Who
is he?
He did Journey. I always forget his name, but that's right, Austin Wintory.
He might have done Journey, okay, but did he do Greatest Journey, the best, most angelic track from Halo 3?
Okay. That's interesting, because the copyright here is Sony Interactive, but it's under exclusive license, like LLC and stuff. So the other soundtrack, this is just the on-camera research I'm doing right now. It seems that all the Halo stuff is just owned by Microsoft.
Even though it's not.
The albums, even though technically it shouldn't be. With other game soundtracks, there is this game was exclusively copyrighted for this particular game, owned by this person under this LCC contract, this and back and forth.
Man, I hate corpo speech.
Just the way that...
Don't put that away. We need
well, sorry, I'm just used to the habit. From my understanding and the way that working in games, I understood that music production is made is basically most game studios, you have a team of people who do the art, the programming, the production, all that sort of stuff, and that's part of your team.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you've got a good music guy or sound guy, you'll keep them on there. But with games, with how infrequent use, like in the production scale of making a game, music's usually in very small pie-sized pieces.
Usually. But for Halo, the music...
Well, I think in newer Halos for sure, they just add that.
They use No Man's Sky music for the newest Halos. But when you have a literal genius up there with Mozart... Okay, maybe not Mozart.
John Williams, I would say.
No, he's better. He's better than John Williams. John Williams, like you said, used clips, right? Marty O'Donnell is literally like the most... do you know any other music that sounds even similar to his music?
No.
Like, even his I don't know what it's called, but like the way they do the note configurations, right? They're all so unique.
Composition and stuff.
Yeah, he's got his own style. Anyway.
Yeah. So, and it makes sense in game studios if there's certain parts. For example, if you need to make a level really quickly, you'll just contract out a bunch of level designers to do that. And so a lot of the time and the way that music and stuff and unions have been organized, especially in the States, is that you have an artist who you get contracts to basically compose for a game. Kind of like they do now with movies as well. They do the same thing.
I think that would make it a slower process. Because think about it, right? you got two people working in a thing. It's easy for you to go, hey, can you do this? Like, even here, imagine this, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to go, hey, can you do this? Rather than, okay, I need to send you this information. You need to read it. We need to follow up. You need to make this, send it to me. Like,
It depends on the studio as well, though, and the contracts. So, for especially indie stuff, where it's a smaller team and everything, you'll probably get more of that with that contractor. You'll get them to come on site, play the game, talk about what you want to experience, that sort of stuff. And each contract's different for people as well. I feel like Marty O'Donnell in the opening Halo games was like, hey, you're... Like, the way that you're going to make your money is through licensing your music.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can be one of the boys and, like, play the game and understand...
And that's how it became.
Yeah, how important you are. But then as corporations get bigger, or if teams change a lot, then it just makes sense if you're making a product just to hire a guy to do some music, and it depends on team to team. I know with Austin Wintory, he did one of the Assassin's Creed games, and basically he came in... I think he started pre-production, and they talked to him about what they wanted, where the game was going, basically to get him prepared for stuff. Halfway through, they kind of show what they had so far. He started to place in stuff, put things together, and then at the very end, he kind of helped finalize with the ending of production to make it all, conducting the orchestra and doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it just depends on contract, and with the thing is as well with contracts. They cannot just be, I own the rights to this music. It could be like they were talking about, for example, with voice actors and stuff and actual actors, a company might not be able to pay you fully for your time in a film. So, for example, if I contract you out for a role in a show, but I only have a certain budget, I can't have you in the show for this running time. So we'll cut bits out in your script because we don't have the money to pay you. What we can do, you can say, hey, I still want to get paid more. We can, for example, in the budget, there might be some money for marketing. And so what we'll do is we'll pay you to go on tour with us before the movie comes out to do the interviews and stuff. Yeah. And so you get paid in different ways.
Yeah, and you get percentages based on gross.
And all sorts of stuff. So I think contracts are a great way, especially for artists, to make money. I think it's a great model for people who just want to go from project to project to make stuff.
Contracts are a good thing, but I just don't...
I think it involves interesting struggles, especially with Microsoft, and this contract was obviously Bungie agreed to, you get royalties for this thing. Microsoft probably thought, well, we wouldn't do that. If we were Microsoft, we'd just hire you for your time, like give you a salary for a rate to make music.
Yeah, that's called work for hire.
Yeah. It'd be the same thing like that, but obviously in his contract, it's more than that.
Yeah, but again, it's like if you had a contract with the Empire, like let's say you're Lando Calrissian, and you make a deal with Darth Vader. Yeah. And he starts altering the deal. Yeah. And you're praying that he doesn't alter it further. Yeah. Okay? But he does, because he's the Lord of Darkness. Okay? Like, what are you going to do, reasonably?
Sue him.
Or join the Resistance and blow their bloody Death Star up.
Take that, Vader. That's for changing the contract.
No, I'm good now. I got no hands. Anyway.
Yeah. So, look, I hope he gets... Oh, okay. What I don't want is for him just to get a payout and that be it. I want him to actually win the lawsuit and get his rights back for his music and be able to get that royalty, because having that creative control, I think, especially for him, is way more important than getting all that years of money back.
I want Microsoft and 343 to be bled so badly, like they're practically exsanguinated, okay? I want them to be crawling on their hands and knees across a vast desert just to get the chance to lick the boot of Marty O'Donnell. Yeah. Right? Because... And I know that sounds like, oh, you're idolizing this dude. This dude is like the talent of that franchise. He's like 1/4 the talent of that entire franchise. Yeah.
So, and I think because of how big and substantial that music is and the soundtrack and how it is just in regards to pop culture, he deserves and has the right to keep what he's made, because that was a contract deal. And this is a big thing. This isn't just some little side project he did. It's not some indie album. This is the bloody rights to the Halo music which he made.
There's only one Halo. We haven't had it for the past 11 years. So anyway, I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yeah, so let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
I love the guy, and I think he deserves to... Microsoft just needs to read their contracts.
Yeah. Tell us why we're right down below.
Okay, next news story is that Elon Musk buys 9% of Twitter. Now, do you know what happened here?
Yeah, a little bit.
So what happened was Elon Musk did a tweet and he said, do you think Twitter being basically a public square for people, do you think it gives you the rights to free speech?
Well, it should.
Yeah,
but it
like,
doesn't.
do you think its policies and practices give it free speech? For like, is it a free speech
Now,
platform?
you're saying, got hair on my face. Are you saying, like, ideally, or do they in their current practices? No,
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
not.
exactly.
Absolutely
And so 9% said yes, I think, from memory. It was like 9%. The rest were like, no. And he's like, all right, this poll will have consequences.
And that night, Elon Musk went out and killed 9% of Twitter's employees.
He just got his Tesla flamethrower and was just like, all right, let's go, boys.
Dug a tunnel under their homes. He's the underminer.
I could see Elon definitely making like Terminator robots.
I hope no. He would never do that. He said he's come out against AI so many times. What he will make though is cyborgs. He will make cyborgs.
Maybe not AI, but he'll definitely make robots that you can make them do stuff like war machines.
Yeah.
Honestly, I reckon he has. He just hasn't shown anyone because he watched the movie and he's like, oh yeah, you're right. If they find out I did that, then I'll go to court and a whole bunch of stuff.
Could you imagine if like either an Iron Man or a Batman like comes out in our reality and he does like a press conference and everyone's first question is like, are you Elon Musk? No. You sound like Elon Musk. I'm really not, guys. Basically, anyway.
That's so funny. It's so true though as well. Like, why hasn't anyone come out as an Iron Man or a Batman? There has to be at least one rich billionaire.
Can I quote the movie Kick-Ass to you?
Sure.
Probably because it's impossible, dipshit.
I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
I love Kick-Ass.
But yeah. Anyway.
And so basically he now owns, which is the 9%, which I think is the highest amount anyone has owned of not saying in history, but like right now he owns the majority stake in Twitter.
What's the opposite of pay dirt? You ever heard the term pay dirt?
No.
It's where you spend crap on something and get a massive amount of money in response.
Oh.
Right?
But this is the opposite.
It's the opposite. He spent a massive amount of money on crap that's worth nothing.
Yeah. Profit loss? I don't know.
Here's what he's done. He's got some advertising space that no one really YouTube, Google, they own that stuff anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got some eyes for advertising to sell, right? He's got a little bit of data, but you get that from literally everywhere else as well. The most important thing he's got there is people's opinions.
I think that's where...
And what's that worth? Nothing.
I'm not sure.
And not only that, but he has next to no control over it. Because as soon as he did it, he's like, well, we're not bringing Trump back though. Yeah. Even though no one asked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is one of the most useless investments that you could I think it's a stupid investment. I don't
think so.
Why?
I think because he had two choices basically: either make your own platform or try to take over someone else's.
I think he should have made his own.
I don't think so. I think that would have been too much infrastructure.
Do
a whole branding thing like that is fighting uphill to make a service like that.
Yeah, it would have been infrastructure and
It's better to try and infiltrate. A service than to try and make your own to compete with it.
I disagree. Well, okay.
It depends on what the service is.
It might be easier, but I don't think it's better.
No, I agree with you on that if you can actually fight the uphill battle and win, that's better, obviously.
Yeah, because then you're on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Versus joining the army that you're fighting.
Yeah. But in terms of a business sense, it's better just to buy out another company than try to make your own company doing the same thing.
Yeah, but someone like Elon Musk, he has resources. If, is it Getter? I don't know, there's a bunch of other alternatives, right? And only really two of them have been moderately successful, and one of those two has been pretty successful, right? And that's because this guy, he got his own infrastructure, paid for all of it himself, set up everything himself by hand, right? Versus his competitor who was doing the exact same business model at the same time, who went with Amazon Web Services. And they got their stuff shut down a bunch of times. So, yeah, go harder first, do you ever go hard to get more? Yeah.
I'm just trying.
You haven't seen that?
You're making a... no.
You haven't seen that meme?
No, I haven't seen the meme.
Call now and you can go further to get more. You haven't seen that one?
Maybe I have.
Okay. But yeah,
Well, maybe there's another thing might be doing, okay? Might be wanting to do some research on the company. Might want to understand the tactics, how they work, all that sort of stuff. So maybe he's not actually going in to infiltrate and try to fight the beast from within. Maybe he's just going in so that he has more rights to look and do whatever. And when he realizes, I can't change anything here, he'll just sell his shares and then go to something else.
it might be either a pump and dump, right? Because it's like, oh, he bought 9%. He's gonna do stuff. It's gonna make it more valuable. Everyone buy in, and then he sells, which would be genius gold. Please do that, Elon. Just collapse Twitter. Or it's spies in the camp.
Yeah.
Like he's getting in, having a look, being like, okay, what can I do here? What can I learn from him?
Yeah, yeah.
So, or he's being an idiot. He's like, I can fix him, you know. But again, dude, like the Bible lays this out perfectly, right? The wise man built his house on stone. Why would you buy into something and try to fix something when it's already falling apart at its fundamental level? You know?
I mean, I think you can still fix things, though.
You can fix things.
Yeah.
But don't build your house on sand. And if you've noticed, someone else has built their house on, you know, sandish sort of thing. Don't build your house on top of them.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think my idea of him going in just to get a look.
I hope it's just reconnaissance.
I think it is the main thing. Or just to have a stake in it, so whenever stuff comes up in the future, he can be like, guys, you shouldn't do that. Like, I don't know, maybe he's just trying to...
It's only 9%, and I guarantee you, the rest of the people who are invested into Twitter will have more shared interests amongst themselves than Elon Musk will.
Yeah.
And the big fish does bigger things than the small fish. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that their interests outweigh his.
Which I agree.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, maybe Elon will be able to do something. I mean, the man's pretty smart. He made PayPal. He made Tesla. Look, which, you know, by the way, I have issues with.
Why?
They're crappy products.
What?
They're made cheaply.
Teslas?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah. Was that your stomach?
My stomach, yeah.
I thought it was like the rain clouds outside. No, they're made crappy, poorly, like with bad materials and stuff to make them more cheaper, so people can invest in more. But no one ever says that because then people won't invest in Tesla. Because
like brand image. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that, but look, honestly, I'm sorry, but I can't take your word. Because I've heard so many people say, oh, he failed in this or this or this, and it's like, well, yeah, you know, sure he's got failures, but he's also got massive wins. Like,
exactly.
The dude's a billionaire. If he's failing and still being a billionaire...
Plus, to expect someone to just be the best in life and not fail is the most inhuman expectation anyone ever has.
Yeah.
And there's more stories in here about people making mistakes and failures and everyone being like, oh, he's such a terrible person, like, he's not good. You need failures to learn and grow.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, beam in your own eye.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Like, how do you think you got where you are? You had failures and you had struggles to get through.
But also, just the fact that he's a bloody billionaire and you're like, oh, this guy's a business failure. Like, seems to be, like, evidently not true. Okay?
I mean, here's the thing, too. It's like the same thing with Trump. Everyone says, oh, all his business got bigger and better. Well, he's still a rich, billionaire? He's still pretty well off for himself.
Yeah. Oh, man, this billionaire president, what a failure. Man.
Just because your business fails on paper doesn't mean you fail in life.
Yeah. It's the same thing where it's like, everyone's like, oh, Trump, he's so bad, right? He cheated on all of his wives. I'm like, well, I mean, you look at other presidential candidates, at least it's not kids. You got that, so... Anyway.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so... just want people to stop being so hypocritical and...
Yeah, and
hypercritical.
Here's the thing as well, with Elon Musk and buying Twitter for 9%, it's like, we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know his plans. Basically, all we've seen is him be like, posting a few tweets, buying some stakes in it, being a shareholder, whatever. That's it. We had to wait for him to actually do something to make any judgment on what his intentions are.
I think, realistically, it's probably another pump and dump in a different way. Because think about it, right? He got on Twitter and he's like, hey, Dogecoin. And Dogecoin, moonshot.
Yeah.
Hey, Ethereum, moonshot. Bitcoin, moonshot.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm buying these stocks.
Yeah.
Moonshot, pump and dump.
Yeah.
Pumps off. So don't buy any Twitter stock.
Yeah. Or selling to a stock right now.
Yeah. The only, like, what are they called? Stock market, like, people you should be following is Nancy Pelosi. Do you know Nancy Pelosi?
No.
Speaker of the House in the US. She's the old lady you see standing behind Biden pulling his puppet strings. If you followed all of her stock market picks for like last 20 years, you'd be worth $100 million. Isn't that odd?
Does that mean that she's worth 100?
She's worth a lot more than $100 million. It's just so odd that she keeps getting the right picks. And that the salary for being Speaker of the House is like $600,000 and she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Also, man, to get paid that much would be fantastic.
Anyway, we don't know these things. It's best not to ask these things. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Okay. Next news story. Unreal Engine 5 Oz! It's out!
Is it Unreal?
It is Unreal.
Are you going to swap from that, what would you even call it? It's like a...
A pleb engine?
It's how I imagine, like... Oh, man. When you described how Teslas were made, I thought Unreal Engine. Like a Serbian...
What a bloody diss.
Like a Serbian auto mechanic shop in the 90s, Like an ex-Soviet era, car manufacturing
Here's
plant.
the thing with Unreal Engine, right? It's like a Lamborghini. Looks great, very expensive features.
And it requires knowledge.
Can go very fast on the road, but if you try to take it off-road, it's not going to budge.
Okay,
You're going to wreck it. You're going to cause a crash.
I like where this analogy is going, but in the spirit of the analogy, I'd like you to steer it back on track to where you tell us how does that fit with Unreal Engine? How do you take an engine for a video game off-road? Explain that to me.
Okay, for example, Unreal Engine is made for...
I'm not developing, games while I go on four-wheel drive.
No, but for example, okay, if you want to make a game for oh no, the axe of edginess has fallen.
I didn't know it was there. I'll hold it now. Oh no, I can really sense it coming up.
The gamer word.
No, every time I hold the axe I get an erection. What? Don't look at the... Excuse me, sir.
What? Try heaving?
Oh, you were heaving, okay.
Damn you! This analogy, okay, Unreal Engine is great for making first-person, third-person, AAA, console, PC games.
So the most successful genre of video games, it does the best.
I mean, indie games are pretty successful too.
Indie games are successful is humans are successful. There's a lot of us, but
And the things it does really well. But if you try to, for example, programming...
Sorry. Of course it doesn't do well the things it doesn't do.
But the thing... Shut up. It's great for level design. It's great for graphics. It's great for gameplay. But if you try to optimize it too much, if you want to make something for mobile, if you want to do stuff with VR, XR, if you want it to run on everything, like Doom, Unreal's not the thing for you.
Okay.
It doesn't go everywhere. It has its strict performance indicators on where it can go, what it can do.
And Unity doesn't? And Unity doesn't?
Unity is a lot less restricted. It's kind of like... I wouldn't call it... I was going to say like a four-wheel drive or like a Jeep or something. Like it can go off-road, it can do what it needs to do. It's like an SUV. I think Unity's like an SUV. Like, it'll get you places, but you don't want to go Rocky Mountains to go uphill and stuff. For that, you want to use Godot.
Well, actually, if you want to go up a mountain, you'd use a Skyrim horse.
True, that too.
Wait, Godot?
Yeah.
Huh.
Godot is quite flexible, powerful. It's open source.
Huh. I didn't know that they'd developed that far, that it's seriously in line with Unreal.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing really is the support in terms of bigger companies using it. Especially with Godot 4.
So it's in its Blender phase at the moment.
Definitely, yeah. Some people are saying it's not going to be as big as Blender, but I think if they can get some people on board, and all they need is really good starter kits for people to play around with, and then people... That's what I think Unity and what Unreal is lacking right now. So with Unreal Engine 5, they announced 2 basically projects to start off with, just to kind of play around with what the engine is. First one is Lyra, which is just a third-person arcade shooter kind of like game. Like just think of maybe like Halo or. They don't do third-person games like that anymore, really. They're mostly
Unless
first-person.
it's from Ubisoft.
Yeah, it's like a Ubisoft game, basically.
Yeah.
Demo where you can play around with the levels and, networking and stuff. And the other one is the Matrix demo.
Oh, yeah. And they also did one, like a medieval castle thing a while back that got...
Yeah, that one isn't available for people to download, but the two right now that are available to download are the Matrix demo and the Lyra demo. That's my issue with Unreal Engine 5 right now. And you're going to see this, okay, this is something for everyone else to be aware of with games coming out. Because they did this giant press conference. They're like, here are all the studios working on Unreal Engine 5, all the games and stuff. There's going to be some growing pains. And this happened with Unreal Engine 4. Do you remember Arkham Knight and its issues in launching?
Yeah, it was a bug-filled mess.
That's because they switched from Unreal Engine 3 to 4.
Okay.
So we got the same thing with 4 to 5. This one's a lot more smoother. You can basically just have your Unreal Engine 4 projects and put them to Unreal Engine 5 and it just works.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have issues with new technology, new ways of optimizing. You're going to find new issues that are in this newer version of the engine that weren't in the other Unreal. And yeah, it's just people have to basically jump through hurdles to go to the new stuff. And for example, if you have issues on Unreal Engine 5 content, it's not as easy to Google search stuff for 5 than 4 right now.
Yeah, because it's brand new.
Yeah.
But you know how a while back they showed that trailer where it's like, hey, look at this, we're going to fit 16 million triangles, like this is, look at all these Masonic symbols here. Do they...
Does that work?
Does that work? Is it real?
Yes. But here's the thing with it. Like, it'll work on a production grade machine. So if you're working to make games and you're able to draw those polygons for each of those separate models and stuff in ZBrush and can use all that stuff, yes, you can insert it and pop it on and whatever. But that doesn't mean that every system's going to be able to just optimize that to begin with. And sure, it doesn't crash the engine, but I've still used demos with that and like put in objects with high res detail, and it's still slow. Like, okay, it doesn't crash, but my frame rate isn't 120 frames. So it's amazing technology, but it isn't butter smooth, perfect. You can't just drag and drop and everything's all hanky dory.
Well, that's basically it.
Yeah. So it works. It exists.
Does it? So it works.
Yeah.
Does it have 16 times the detail though?
Technically, yes. But the other issue is that how big file sizes are now.
Oh yeah, true.
So even though you can have all these high res details, guess what? That just means more gigabytes of data that the engine has to store. Like, people have been making smaller demos of the Matrix one, because if you want to play the Matrix demo, it's like 120 gigs just for like the demo game.
Do they give you a whole city?
They give you a whole modular city, animations, particle effects, and a bunch of other stuff as well. But when... I don't think I retweeted it, but when you make games, you usually want to retopologize it so it's nice and... It's a nice clean mesh, and you don't have too much detail in the actual mesh. So if you have a flat surface,
it doesn't overlay,
and you've got like nails in it, you'd use what's called a null map.
Yeah, makes it bumpy.
Basically, but it's just through a texture. It's not the actual mesh, and so that has less draw calls and stuff. Issue is the pathways are all 3D scanned, and so they've all got little crevices, and so the mesh isn't flat. It's got all those triangles.
You are going beyond our.
Understanding?
And the viewer I know.
The viewer's just lost.
I can see him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, Alex. I rolled the dice.
Basically,
I freaked some people out.
The tech works, it's cool, but it isn't industry standard yet. And it's going to be growing pains, and obviously they're going more towards AAA stuff and like big movie budget stuff. Previs for architecture and everything. They've got their things covered. Am I going to play around with it? Obviously, but it's not going to be anything I would release a product on.
Okay then.
Because also Unreal, the video I will say, was very corporate. It was very propaganda. Like the way that they were talking about Unreal Engine 5 and how great and powerful it was, I felt a bit uneasy about it. Like, they're all like that whenever they have new tech. They're like, this is the best thing ever. But the way they just said it, they're like, yes, this engine is just best. Like, it's better than anything else I've worked in. And it's like, I don't think you're. I reckon you have opinions of it. Like, with any software you use, it's like we use DaVinci at work.
Yes.
And we're like, hands down, better than Premiere, except for a few small cases where Premiere can just do one thing that DaVinci can't. And it works most of the time, except for the one time that setting was clicked for you and it couldn't hear the sound.
Oh, yeah.
See how mad you got from that? Like, there's just little things like that where it's like, same with Unreal, okay? And any software. It's like, it can be amazing, but there's still going to be issues with it. And by having those big propaganda videos of like, this thing's the best thing ever, some poor kid's going to download it and be like, oh, this is actually really hard to use. I don't understand what's going on.
Well, yeah, but then, you know, the onus is on that kid for being a retard who just thought, I can be a game dev. You have any idea how many kids are just like, I make a video game, and they're not even you know? So they can't do it. So
I mean, I was that for a very long time.
Exactly. You know exactly. Like, imagine that, except you stopped when you encountered the first hurdle of, okay, how do I make a game? You know? Like, because that's what most children are like nowadays.
Yeah. And so, look, there's going to be hype around Unreal Engine 5, there's going to be AAA games made, and it's going to be really good. For bigger studios, I think it's going to have really good stuff. And look, I will admit, there's pieces to Epic's puzzle that haven't all fit together yet. They have Unreal Engine 5, they have Megascans, they have MetaHuman. And they're all going to coincide in this giant thing, which I think is going to be just an AI engine, basically.
Oh, great. Elon Musk pissing himself. He's going to buy into Unreal and just like, no, shut it down.
So that's what's going to happen, I think, because of the way that technology is going. We need AI to make games faster and better, because it's just taking too long to do menial tasks.
What if that AI is like, okay, what's the quickest way to make games? Kill every human being on the planet.
Well, no, I don't think they'll. I'm pretty sure that no. That's not going to be like self-aware AI that's able to control.
We don't know that. We don't even know how consciousness works. Okay, the best possible answer that we have for consciousness is God allows you to have it.
Yeah. In terms of AI, I'm more just thinking of. I mean, like the way that you can drag and drop things into the engine. That has some form of AI. Like, it's an algorithm, okay? It's not full AI.
Yeah, but neural networks, right, for doing stuff like that, which is our closest, it basically is AI, right? Like, when there's obvious, like, I don't want to say uncanny valley, but like where the AI has completely missed the mark.
Yeah.
And you get that a lot, like, very often, you know? Like, have you seen This Person Does Not Exist?
Yeah.
It gets a lot of good ones, but there's a lot of uncanny valley, and there's a lot of hideously deformed picture. And, you know, that's my Facebook profile picture. That's not from a AI. I don't know why everyone's... but yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's why you train AI. And when I say AI, I don't think it's going to be one day I'll probably become like this. But it'll be like, make Assassin's Creed but Halo, and then the engine will just bring out a game that's like that. I think to begin with, we're going to have stuff...
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Let me tell you where you're wrong, okay? Because you're not thinking like a machine, okay?
No.
I can think like a robot, okay? Because a robot doesn't know what you think.
Yeah.
Because here's the crazy thing, man. Not even you really know what you think. You don't know what informs most of your... Anyway, all right. What I'm saying is, you say to a robot, make it Halo, but it's Assassin's Creed, or Assassin's Creed, but it's Halo. And you know what it's going to do?
What?
It's going to give you... it's going to take the microtransactions from Halo Infinite and mix it with the microtransactions.
So you be so good.
It's like, what do you call it? There's this joke, right? There's this comedian who's like, if Ethan, what's his name? Stephen Hawking had a baby with, what's her name? Something Hawke. Yeah, so Stephen Hawke and, what's her name? Michelle, is it Michelle Hawke? I don't know, she's a supermodel, right? If they had a baby, right? Would it be the most beautiful, most intelligent being to ever exist? Or would it be a shriveled, disgusting little man with the mind of a supermodel? Who's going to push around the Hawk, Anyway, so, like...
I get that.
Yeah.
And that's where you start training AI. So
You've got to be very specific.
You reinforce the good stuff.
Yeah.
And then you discipline the bad stuff.
Yeah. Don't discipline
you just
a robot,
reinforce
man.
the good stuff. Okay?
You shock a robot, he's going to remember. He's got better memory than you.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure that one day... I've been very polite to Siri, okay? But I'm sure that there's been some times where I've been like, "Are you Siri?" So
I know Google thinks I'm gay now.
we all... No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's just quiet, that's all. Yeah, so... Man, I'm delirious.
It's good stuff. But yeah, that's basically my opinion. Like, Unreal Engine 5, great new tech, not for everyone, but they are not reaching the end game yet, but they're definitely all building up towards this bigger thing.
Yeah.
But also, man, they are such awkward nerds. It was so funny. Like, Tim Sweeney is this, like... I think Steve Jobs, when he comes out, he's like, "Hi, I'm Steve Jobs, and I got one more thing for you." Like, he's very, like... He's got swag to it. But Tim Sweeney was just like, "I am Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, and today I'm going to say..." Like, he's such a nerd. He's got, like, little hunchback and stuff. And everyone else is kind of just like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I work here at Epic." And it's, like, it's just... It's very funny watching that.
Do you remember that Japanese lady at E3? She was really bubbly. Can't get her out of my mind. I'm still in love.
But yeah, that's our Unreal Engine stuff. Next news story, some personal news. Oz, you watched Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I watched Breaking Bad again.
Yeah.
Just reinforced that it's like the greatest show ever made.
Wow.
It's on par. I'd say it's on par with Band of Brothers. Have you ever seen Band of Brothers? World War II, real?
It's on my list of things to watch.
Dude, it's...
With Breaking Bad.
Like, it's true history with interviews of the dudes who fought the battles. These guys were literally the tip of the spear for World War II. Jumping out of aeroplanes. Anyway, I'm talking about the meth men, not the heroic soldiers. Yeah, Breaking Bad is an incredible show. Next up, Better Call Saul. Haven't seen that yet. Have you seen Better Call Saul?
No.
So in Breaking Bad...
well, I know what it is. I know.
He's got a lawyer called Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
And he's a crooked lawyer. And he's the best lawyer. Because he breaks the law. Anyway, and the show Better Call Saul is a prequel about him.
Yeah. Well, personal news for me, I started a podcast. Somewhat.
You did?
Kind of. This is personal. This is separate from Night's Watch and Shadowversity. This is my own thing.
That was my follow-up question. Is it what we're doing right now?
No.
Okay. You can
Although...
rip the audio from this and...
Yeah, rip the audio from this and then just...
Like, oh, Shad, sorry, the footage.
Put it MD3. No. But in the future, I would like to put these as podcasts, level it out for the audio listeners and make it all nice. But right now, we don't have the time for that, unfortunately. But what I do have time for in my personal life is to interview other game devs. I've interviewed 2 people now. The first video is out. It's also podcast form, so it's on my channel. Nathan Rona, link in the description for Samyam. Next one's going to be Thomas. Basically, I just asked them what got you into games. They're also YouTube game devs like me. So I talked to them about, like, you know, with Sam, I was asking, when you do tutorials for games, do you do research? Do you script stuff? How do you do things like that? And basically they just... Mostly me giving them a platform to talk about how they work, what their interests are.
And his name's Sam, so you know he's a stand-up guy.
It's a she.
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 My bad. Name one bad Sam.
No, Sam. But she's really good too. She makes some amazing tutorials. Like, amazing tutorials.
On what?
On Unity and Unreal. And she's in Unreal doing a parkour game as well.
Nice.
So, really good game dev. Thomas as well. He's just a cool-as dude. Lots of similarities between us two. I don't think a lot of it's in the video, but we had some really good, like, interests that were similar to each other. Okay. And so I'm going to start doing that maybe once a month, interview people. Fun little game dev thingy that I thought I'd just self-promote. And it's been fun to... Just because editing videos is really hard to do sometimes.
I disagree. You see, I find it quite easy, and so I've made it my profession.
Stuff you.
No, so what do you call it? Because of my just instant, for some reason, insomnia that has come over me, I went to bed last night at 11:30, woke up at 2 o'clock, and I'm like, screw this, I can't fall asleep, I'm just going to go to work. And I did another video, edited it out, right? And nice. then I did some more work, and then you came in, and I thought I'll take a break. But yeah, so it's not hard.
Well, no,
it's easy.
Certain videos are hard to make though. When the long form, when it's just us two talking, and it's just you gotta listen to.
It's hard to listen to my voice repeated back at me. In my opinion.
That's what my wife. When we were sick, I did edit one video, and when I was editing, my wife was like, "Is it hard to listen to Oz for that long?"
That hurts, man. That's why I didn't say anything in the car.
Jokingly, she was like, "Is it hard just to listen to, you know, those voices over and over?" And I'm like, "No, Oz is fine. It's just me when I stutter my words. I get mad at myself when I talk over my words. When all my words get jumbled in my mouth, I can't say anything.
Oh, okay. Well, you see, be like Shad and do that as your main content.
But yeah, that again, that's just a video thing I'm doing on my channel. So
That's
if you
good.
like that, and as well, it's awesome. It's really weird seeing your own thing on like Spotify.
Oh, hey. Speaking of a video that would have been on my channel, but Chad, for some reason, was like, put it on Night's Watch. Did you watch the Carl Rittenhouse?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
did.
Well, what do you guys think of that? It seems that a lot of people liked it. And
It felt very much like an Oz channel video. And so when I saw it on Night's Watch, I was like, oh, it's like an Oz video, but it's on Night's Watch.
Yeah. It's like something that's really inappropriate for our channel and might result in a ban. Can't believe it's on...
Hey, you liked it. But no,
Yeah.
my thing is developer interviews Nathan Rona on Spotify. And wherever else you get your podcasts.
Yeah. It's the character that looks like he's from...
Yeah, it's my little promotional
Little fella.
avatar.
Is that Chibi?
Chibi? Yeah.
Chibi.
Alright,
Chibi,
say
Chibi,
Chibi. Yeah. But yeah, that's some personal news for us.
Yeah.
But the next bit of personal news is some sad news.
What happened?
And that's that White Cloaks got kicked off of Reddit.
Oh, that's not sad news.
Okay, sad,
That's angry
revengeful.
No,
if that's a word.
no, we do not do revenge.
No.
Vengeance is the Lord's, not ours. When seeking revenge, dig
Yeah,
to
Batman.
graves.
Jeez.
Well, I guess. Just beating up random criminals really counts as revenge. Unless he sought the specific criminal.
I don't know.
I just don't think people should be beating each other. Anyway, unless Joe Rogan is, commentating on it. Dude, like, you want to have any street fight you want, anywhere, as long as Joe Rogan's there to be like, what? Dude, I don't care. Throw kids into the Cincinnati Gorilla, zoo, and just as long as Joe Rogan's like, dude, I've predicted for years that a gorilla would tear you apart. Look, it's happening. And it's completely fine because Joe Rogan's there.
And then he's like, drugs aren't as bad,
Yeah. Dude, you ever tried DMT? Here, let me tell you a really horrific life story, some deep trauma from like an actor, and he's like, whoa, dude. You ever tried DMT? Come on, man.
Every podcast, it's like, he's talking, hey, you ever tried DMT? You ever done drugs? You ever done LSD? Yeah, I tripped once. Me and my friends, we might, yeah.
You know the one person he never asked that question?
Who?
Alex Jones. That was a foregone conclusion. Why would I speak to the machine elves? I don't go there. I don't go to Demon World, okay? Anyway, sorry.
No, but no, the White Cloaks basically got kicked off of Reddit because they disagree with Amazon.
Because
they didn't like a show.
Because they're dark friends. That's why they did it. It's because Reddit is full of dark friends. They can't handle the light. It burns them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently, just enjoying the original source material is just cancelable now.
Yep.
And their accusations on why they got kicked off
Oh, it's the same.
is just out of bullcrap.
This is a common lefty tactic. So common, it's communist. They did this back when they wanted to get rid of the... What are they called again? I forget what they're called, but the upper class peasant class that were farmers, right? The ones who were good farmers and got paid well for their work, right? They would send infiltrators into their communities, and they would start conversations like, hey, why is this guy getting all the... What's going on? They basically build envy and hatred towards, and then they just attack and destroy.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They did it to Donald. They did it to... there's a bunch of, edgy meme things like that. And so, yeah, it's just more lefty, woke warfare.
Yeah, so I subscribe to you, White Cloaks, and, you have your Discord still for now. It just sucks that, that an Amazon TV show couldn't be criticised to the point where a Reddit group got kicked off the platform.
Well, first they got kicked out of the Wheel of Time ones.
Yeah.
Then they made their own.
Yeah, and they got kicked off of that.
Yeah. Just make your own website, bros. Make your own...
Make your own internet, bros!
Have you ever heard... So you've heard that, right? Make your own blah, blah, blah. But if you go as far as you can, up the chain of make your own new thing, you get to bank.
Yeah.
And then, you know who tried to do that? Gaddafi. The Libyan leader. And guess what happened to him? He wasn't cancelled. Well, he was cancelled from life. Anyway, so yeah, you can't just make your own thing. You must stay within the system, and if you step out of line, cattle, you die. Anyway, what's the next bit of news?
No, we need to finish up.
Oh, finish that?
Finish up, finish on a good note.
Sorry.
Okay, because as much as stuff like that will happen, no, I think that there is a war going on in culture, if you're unaware. But I think that here's the thing, and you said it before, right? That truth will always prevail. Because it's truth, it will win, it's clean, it's pure,
it's a naturally
it will overthrow.
Resource.
Yeah, and so with the corruption, with lies and deceit, those structures will fall at some point.
Oh, yeah.
They will fail.
Me and Shad, we were talking the other day, I don't know how connected this is to that, but I wanted your input on this idea. We were talking about, have you heard the unmoved mover or the prime mover? Where it's like this Greek dude who was a pagan and secular, he's like, wait a minute, nothing can move without something making it move,
yeah.
right? And so I read more into that recently, and basically, he was a smart guy, right? I don't know how he found it, but he did it using logic. He's like, okay, so God didn't create time from the beginning. He's at the end of time, and he's pulling us towards him. And I don't know how that's relevant, but you brought it up in my mind, so it's your fault. But yeah, the truth will always win out because, like resources, right?
Yeah.
A lie costs resources to maintain. The truth is a naturally occurring thing. It's like pushing a boulder uphill, and you have to spend lots of energy to keep it up that hill.
Yeah.
But with truth, there's gravity.
And so I think eventually there'll be a point where those big company structures and all that corruption and lies and just overall hate of, oh, you don't agree with me, therefore you're scum of the earth and stuff.
Yep.
That stuff, they're going to get overpowered. They're going to fail.
They'll alienate one person at a time, and they have been.
Yeah.
Since
to the point where they're either going to just the whole system's going to collapse underneath them.
Yep.
Or because of just how do I explain this? It's hard to get your opinions right on camera immediately like that. But the internet calls for it.
That's fine. We can always edit this, man. Take your time to form your... Be careful with your words.
Now I forgot my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But basically, either that or the truth will overpower the lies because truth is powerful.
Yeah. You didn't watch Chernobyl, the HBO series?
No.
There's at the end of the thing, they figure out that the thing blew up because people were lying to each other, right? And this is one of the central things of people looking at Marxist and communist ideas, is that it requires you to lie all the time, right? Every lie that you tell incurs a debt to the truth, and one day the debt has to be paid.
Exactly.
And you better hope that stack of debt isn't high enough to crush you.
Yeah. So you've got to start telling the truth to pay back that debt. So, look, I think people can change and learn from their mistakes. I'm not damning anyone because there's still time. This is a time for you to make changes in your life. If you've realised, hey, I've been an awful person, I think people still have the ability to change and to be better. But at the same time, if you're going to just dig yourself in the pit of, no, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm lying, scumbag, your day's going to come, and at the end, it's not going to be good.
Do you know why woke stuff is so counter to reality that it's almost embarrassing? It's offensive. We see woke stuff and we're just like, what the
Yeah.
Okay? Communists do this on purpose. This is a very common thing in communist propaganda. It's like, we're going to make it so counter to what you can literally see in front of you, but you're forced to believe it and parrot it, because if you don't, you get destroyed. And if you can do that to someone, get them to literally denounce what they can see as truth, you can get them to commit any evil
they
you
can do
want.
anything because it's whatever you say.
Yeah, and then you make them complacent in your evil. So that's what they're going for.
Yeah, but we aren't standing for it, and I just think people need some hope, because you see all this stuff happening, and you just be full of despair. Just know at the end of the day that they're going to fall.
Yeah,
it's not going to last forever, and the structures they are building upon, the foundation that they have, isn't rock solid like us. We have literal truth backing us up with their things.
Yep. And what's underneath them but a pit of fire waiting to consume them.
Whether figuratively or literally,
no,
whatever.
Well, not literally. It'll just be a dark pit. It's like Gandalf said, fall into the nothingness that awaits you and your masters. But yeah, Son of Man will return, Or
just, I guess we can call it karma. It's just that, there's there's universal systems in place, and when things don't go, if they aren't following the laws and rules of the world we live in, then there's consequences for that.
Yep, and the consequences come in a way that if they have taken this into account, and they're like, okay, we can account for these consequences, there's consequences they have not accounted for. Yeah, and it usually hits at the, you know...
Yeah, like, and the thing is too, like, yes, we're Christians, believe Christ will come again, but there's also going to be, you know, is referendum the right word? Like, there's going to be other things that happen before that. Like, don't just feel like, oh, you have to wait for Jesus to come for everything to be better again. Like, there are laws in this world in which we live in that have consequences to your actions. And so if you're being a good person, telling the truth, being wholesome and whatever, you're going to get good consequences. Same thing with being bad, lying, deceitful. You're going to... It's just the structure of the systems in which we live in.
Yeah.
So, just giving people hope out there that just because the world seems like it's going to fire, if you're...
Well, Jesus literally said the world, don't love the world, because the world's going away.
Yeah.
So, what you should do, atheists, is maybe rethink your position. Pascal's wager and all, you ever heard that? Pascal's wager?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, well, what if God does exist? I should probably invest in that. Because if he doesn't, well, no harm off my head.
Yeah. But
if he does...
again, I think my whole point is just to say to people, like, don't give up hope yet. There's things that are going to happen. Just because it looks like the other team is winning right now doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever.
Night is darkest before the dawn.
Exactly. Wow, we got deep there. Next news story is that Max Payne is getting remastered.
Max Payne?
Max Payne. Good old Max Payne.
That's an
by
old
Rockstar.
game.
Yes, it is actually quite old now. 1 and 2 are getting remastered by Remedy, who did the Alan Wake games.
Who did?
Alan Wake?
Okay, sound like you said something different.
Oh, what does it sound like?
It sounded like you said a long wank.
Oh. Alan Wake? Gosh, damn, that's hard not to say it.
Dude, speaking of Alan Wake, quickly, right?
Yeah.
There was before the game came out, there was like a mini-series that was like 15-minute long episodes that was put out on Microsoft Store.
Yeah.
And it was very enthralling.
Yeah.
They should have made that a full-length series. It was really good, because it showed you the perspective of the people who are afflicted by this curse.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, that was cool. Like, you should check it out. It's really cool.
Yeah. I will.
Yeah.
But so they did that, they did Control, they did Quantum Break. So they're known for doing kind of the third-person sort of games.
Quantum Break was a bit...
Yeah, I know, but they did Control, which
was good.
Which redeemed them.
Yeah.
And so, look, everyone's like excited for that, obviously, but the one thing people were concerned about is because this isn't the first time we've had Rockstar Remasters. The last thing that happened was the GTA trilogy.
Yeah, but they basically just like ran that game through waifu times 2. You know, they just put it on like an image expanding.
Yeah. They used AI basically to upscale everything.
Pathetic. Which
is really funny, right? Because you can know they did that because there's a
taxi thing, yeah. There's texts.
But I think it's the mechanic is a giant nut bot. But then in the upscaling, it just subdivided it, so it looks like a donut.
Yeah.
So instead of being a mechanic's nut bolt, it's now just circular because the AI thought, I just got to make this be smoother.
Mate, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is there's issues to it. Okay, you need some artistry in that technology.
Yeah.
But
because like think about it, right? You go to AI, say make the most realistic, best, like coolest, most violent GTA possible, and the robot's like, I'm going to encourage people in real life to be, you know, violent murderers and go, you know, kill hookers.
And so I think Remedy are going to do a good job of this. I think that in terms of a studio, they're going to make a good game. What is your face for, huh?
There's wordplay there for a good joke.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, Rockstar was a failure, but Remedy is the remedy. Sorry,
well, Rockstar hired out another studio to do the remasters from before, and I think basically they were just time constrained, couldn't remaster everything at once. So I think they've learnt from that. They're like, okay, Remedy, make Max Payne for us, make it good. I think the game in general will be decent. What people are concerned about are the original ones being available in store, because what they did with the GTA remasters was they got rid of the old classic games. You can only buy and play the new remasters.
Yeah, they did with Dark Souls as well.
So people are going to be worried about that, which is fair enough. I think, and this is the thing that's happening a lot right now in gaming, and the digital store space, is that a lot of retro games are either disappearing because they can't run on new tech. Like there's a whole thing with PS3 games people can't figure out how to emulate PS3 games because of how complicated the architecture was to make those games.
Do you need to speak Japanese or something?
Just the architecture for the PlayStation 3 is so complicated.
Oh, okay.
Like the company that made it can't figure out how they made it.
Dude, that's Japanese voodoo magic right there. They put that... You know what they use? They use their chakras.
Yeah.
Like Naruto.
Funny... Oh, no, I'll tell a story later. But this is an issue happening now with Nintendo as well. Like, Nintendo will emulate some games for you on certain systems on the Switch, but other ones they will just completely ignore. And you have to keep paying. So it's like, if you had a Wii, you could buy Super Mario Bros. For the NES, but then now you're going onto the Wii U, you've got to pay for it again. You got a 3DS, you've got to pay for it again. Like, you have to keep paying for the same game over and over and over. Same thing's going to happen, I think, in the digital store space, is that, you know what? They'll remaster GTA Original Trilogy again, and they'll get rid of this old remaster, and they'll just keep doing it, keep making you pay for the newer remasters.
Yeah.
And they'll remove the other older stuff.
To be fair, right, at least when they do it at Nintendo or, like, PlayStation, Sony, it's because they've brought out a new console, whereas if it's, say... Skyrim, and I was like, no, we're just releasing it again.
Yeah.
And you'll buy it if you know what's good for you. If you don't want Todd to cup shop in your attic, you know.
Just be like, 16 times the detail. I was on the chess club.
Bloody hell.
So,
put the game in the basket! Like Silence of the Lambs. Oh, man.
So, Remedy... I reckon they'll do a good job with games, but I think in terms of publishers, we're all a bit skeptical. If you want the original Max Payne games, pay for them now, buy them now, because they'll be in your library. But, yeah, just don't expect to be able to buy the older ones, because as well, people were like, oh, I want to, this is the remaster, I want to play the original to see the difference. Like with Master Chief Collection, you can't just tap between the two.
I was thinking that when you talked about like replacing it with the new thing.
Yeah.
I would like to give 343 one good one. At least they didn't do that, and second good one, you could change it at the press of a button. Okay,
that is
there you go. That's
I
respect.
I have to be on this pedestal with you, okay? That is the one thing that 343 has done, and I've always been like, okay, that's a hard thing to do because basically they made the game again in the engine.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. You either have to get the engine that you already have and make it all better and then be able to switch between the old and new stuff.
Yeah.
Or bring out all that stuff from the old engine to a new engine.
Which
both things very hard to do, and so 343 you did one good thing, which was that.
Yes.
But even then, the art direction wasn't that good for the remaster, so... Halo 2 though.
For the first one, Halo 2... And you know why the second one, why Halo 2 Anniversary was better?
Because Halo 3 didn't actually do...
Because they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
They had literally nothing to do with it. Not only did they have nothing to do with the source material of Halo 2, but they had nothing to do with anything in the remaster.
Which is why it's the best remaster!
Yeah, except for the worst part of it where they put a prologue at the beginning from Halo 5.
They inserted their own...
Yeah, where they insert themselves into Halo. But then they cut that out recently, so...
But not when we played it.
Huh?
When we played it, it was still there. Which I was so mad at. I was like, this wasn't in Halo. And you're like, yeah, they inserted it. And I was like, you dare touch my Halo 2 experience?
Yeah.
You dare ruin it.
Oh, you didn't expect 343 to, grab you in the childhood. That's something only Joe Biden would do.
Yeah.
Hey, Shad put a Joe Biden thing in Shadiversity video the other day.
Yeah.
Film last night. Anyways,
the next one is about Lego Star Wars.
Ah, yes.
Fans, people are loving it, people are hating it.
Yeah.
It's mixed bagged. It depends on what you were expecting to come out with.
People have opposing opinions in 2020. I don't know.
So there's those who are loving it because it's fresh gameplay, beautiful graphics.
The graphics do look good.
It's like a Star Wars, so if you grew up with it, it's not going to be, the same. Because if you go back and play them, you realise that this is a kid's game. And so
I'd argue that all games pander to the child within us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion as well.
We all like play.
But this newer one is focused more for mature audiences just because of the difficulty of the gameplay. Okay. It's like you have parts you got to aim and shoot at certain directions, you got combat and time things, which I guess, kids these days are a lot more advanced in gaming than we were back in the day.
Well, okay, but here's the thing, right? In school, you gradually work up to a test. We already got the test. It was Elden Ring. We're used to this sort of thing, okay? We're going backwards.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying for younger kids, this is obviously more catered towards. Like Lego Star Wars is for the kids who like the Lego games.
Yeah.
This is definitely a step up from the other Lego games, which were a bit more basic and family friendly.
Oh man,
gameplay wise,
those Lego games.
Oh, brilliant!
The first two were incredible. I played the demo so many times over and over. I can't remember where I got it from. I think I got it from a disc from a magazine.
Which Lego style was it?
The first one.
Was it the demo?
The demo for the first Lego Star Wars.
Okay, I had the first Lego Star Wars. I got it with my Xbox.
Yeah, I didn't have it, but I had the demo and I played that thing over and over.
But I had the Lego Star Wars 2 demo. It was one of the Star Wars movies. It's funny. One of the movies you could play the Lego Star Wars demo game, and another Star Wars movie you could play the Battlefront demo game.
Oh.
And so at one of those places, he bought the movies and have the games, so we just play the demos on the movie things. So yeah, that was fun.
This whole gaming.
It was such a good time. Yeah. And so, there's people who are loving this newer, fresher, cleaner, modern take on it.
It looks pretty.
And there are those who are like, look, I love the graphics, but the gameplay, and I do a video about this, it hasn't come out, I don't know if it will or not, where I basically say, look, for me, if I bought and played this, I'd enjoy it. I'd love it because it's catered towards me, us who've grown up playing the games and want to go back to experience it.
Yeah.
But if I was a dad and I bought it for my kid, I'd love it. But my poor 4-year-old would be like, Dad, I don't know how to do this because I'm a 4-year-old kid.
Well, that's the thing. You yell at them to hold the light properly and get back to you.
Yeah, and so, but with the older Lego games, I could play that with them.
Yeah.
Because it's simple. It's less, it's more prone to failure, but it doesn't punish you for that.
Yeah.
Like you fall off the edge and you go, oh, it's whatever.
Yeah. Simpler. I like that. Simpler.
So.
Simpler time.
Those are what I've been hearing on... Oh, and also, fans are mad because...
Oh. No. Not just fans, okay? Fans and reasonable people.
Yes, are mad. Because... I guess we can insert it, right? We'll insert a picture.
Yeah.
This is the Lego... Before you start the game, you've got to press, start to continue. This is the image. And if you zoom up a lot, you'll see in the centerpiece, it's not Luke... It's not Vader. No, it's Rey. Rey is on top with her little Lego lightsaber.
To be fair, okay, it's called the Skywalker... What's it called again? The
Skywalker Saga?
Skywalker Saga, right? And because Rey is an accomplished identity thief, she was able to co-opt their name like any good SJW who seeks to take over a franchise or inheritance.
Yep, you were certainly right. So... I'm mad at that because if you're catering towards the original trilogy audience, which you are with this game because the gameplay wise it's a lot more mature, you're not catering to new fans or young fans. You're catering to the older generation who love Star Wars. You do not put Rey on top because no one's going to play that. Everyone's been playing Phantom Menace. And
tell you what, if Daisy Ridley asked, I'd let her be on top. Daisy Ridley comment?
No.
No, I'd be rough with her, man. I'm pissed about Star Wars.
Pre-marital sex is not okay.
I'd ask for her hand in marriage.
Would you?
Yes.
Really?
I could fix her.
She would say the same thing about you. If you got married, you would be like, I can fix the other person.
Well, she'd be thinking I could fix his massive character faults and health issues, and I'd be thinking, I just needed to start hating her work in Star Wars. That's all I need to get her to do. I just watch the movies all the time till she hated them. Right. You tell me that they weren't banging.
I don't know. But a final news story. IShowSpeed, a black Twitch streamer, banned from all Riot games for toxicity.
See, man, no matter what you call it, this is segregation. Bloody hell, that's a spicy take. No, right, okay. If you approach this from the progressives' viewpoint, it's like, oh, look at them kick out another black person, right?
Yeah.
I don't see it like that. I see it as like, okay, wow, just one more thing to censor someone over. A gamer, by the way, a black gamer, saying the gamer word, right? The gamer word is his word.
I don't think it was the gamer word thing that got him cancelled, though.
It was the get back in the kitchen. And do the, yeah.
So it was the sexist comments, I think, that got him banned.
Yeah, but like, as far as sexist comments go, right? The bad part wasn't get back in the kitchen and do the dishes. It was get back in the kitchen and do the dishes. Right?
It was get off this game and go back to where you belong.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
He's a black guy in America. That's a pot calling the kettle black. No, seriously, right? In all seriousness, I hate censorship. Doesn't matter who it comes from or what the reaction was or what they did.
I think here's my stance on it. And again, this is something I realized when I was on break and watching you guys do comments and me kind of react to my things in my head. I was like, man, the fact that you'll say a news story and then immediately everyone turns to me and they'll be like, Ethan, what is your opinion on this? And I'm like, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. I didn't know. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff here.
It was different this time because I
showed it to you. But even then, I still have had this thought process in my head about, censorship and community because, look, if I run my own personal Discord, there's going to be rules. There's going to be things that you can and can't do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
At the same time, with my games as well, there's going to be things you can and can't do. If I ever make a multiplayer game, I'm going to be pretty strict in certain instances. But at the same time, I do think that there needs to be platforms and you need to be fair to people to give them free speech. I think what the kid said, inappropriate. I think what he said is bad. If my parents had heard this growing up, me playing a game with a guy like this, would have got in trouble being like, hey, that's not a very good person you should be listening to or watching or whatever. It's because what he says is not okay. Like, we can agree on that morally. What he said was not right. I think we just need to clarify that
What
first.
he said was not polite.
Yep.
I'd say it was in bad taste.
Yep.
But I'd also say, one, it's a video game. You can always press mute. Two, he was emotionally compromised. He was raging.
Yeah, he was raging.
Rages at games. And also, didn't they, before he flipped out, he was like, get good or something like that?
People were saying, yo, you suck at this game, get good.
Yeah, well, there you go. Guys having a rage moment, you just want to rub some dirt in his eye, well then, of course he's going to explode.
Yeah.
I don't... it's a video game, If you can't handle someone yelling at you from across the internet, how are you going to handle, someone doing it in real life,
Because you can't read them in real life.
Can't mute them in real life, unless you're deaf, you just take the battery out.
Yeah, and I think there's a few things. One, this happened, he didn't get banned.
It didn't happen
straight
immediately.
away. It was months after. Someone had clipped this, someone at Riot saw it, and they banned him from every Riot game. It wasn't Valorant, it wasn't from certain things. He didn't get a warning either, it was just, you're banned. So I think that's a bit unfair, because with people like this, it's like, if a kid mucks up at school, you don't just, what's it called when you just kick them out?
You don't just
expel them, okay?
Yeah.
You have a talk with them, you understand what's going on, and if anything, it's better to understand why they do those things and try to help them improve than just kicking them out, because then they're going to get mad, they're going to go waste their time doing something else, and it's not going to help them develop or change.
I think we get to the closest sense of justice when we have a principle, right? Because the principle is the foundation. Why is censoring someone bad? Just the act of censorship. Why is that a bad thing?
For me, it's because you're taking away someone's agency and choice to do something.
Okay. But why is that bad?
Well, because then it's like, you're not... What do you mean?
There's a number of reasons. It can be done to you. You set the precedent. And if you don't want it done to you, then you're a hypocrite because you did it to someone else. You can't expect people to be honest about what they think and feel and believe, which is bad for many different reasons. One, figuring out who the hell this kind of person is. And two, if a bad situation comes up, they're not going to be afraid to say the truth. Censoring people for any reason, I think, is usually always a bad thing. Always. Regardless of whether the person says something really messed up. Because if you censor them, who's going to know they said it? So...
I think... What I would do in this instance, for example, if I was making a multiplayer game, because I thought about too, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, there's obviously, there's one of the comments that were repeated in the thread was people saying like, oh man, you think this is bad, go back to Modern Warfare 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
You wet blankets, this is nothing compared to what's been said in the past. What I would probably do is I would have open platforms for people to say and do what they want. It's the 18 plus demographic of okay, you know what? If you say stuff illegal, you're going to be accounted for it, but being a jerk isn't a bannable offense. Then you have the safe space for, the kids, for those maybe who don't want to hear stuff like that, and you keep them separate so that people don't.
Yeah, I'm happy with more options.
Because in that way you have the option to unfiltered. 4chan, basically just whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's important just to have those communities there so people can do stuff and feel stuff. I'm not saying there's things that they do that are going to be morally correct all the time.
Give us a little pen somewhere.
But it's better than just having tyranny and not giving them a choice.
Yeah.
But you also need those safe spaces for people who don't want to be in front of that behaviour. Like
anything but the word safe space, I beg you.
You need
a friendly corner.
Yeah, you need a friendly corner, okay?
Yeah, and I'm fine with that as long as there's the option.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's all with this kid, okay? And it sucks as well. So future generations are going to have something that previous ones have not had to deal with, and that's just internet presence. Like,
well, we're dealing with it.
We're dealing with it. Like, what we've grown up on the internet, having Facebook and stuff. I've got pictures of me that I'm just like, oh man, that was me back when I was 14. Don't want people to see that because I just look like a little cringy kid.
Dude.
And there's kids now
Everyone has that.
No, but like older adults. Like my parents didn't have that because guess what?
Yeah.
My dad still doesn't have a Facebook, so he's never going to have any of that stuff to be accountable for online because he doesn't do anything online. But people, I reckon there's people, or have been people in the past who spoke like this and did this, realized what they did in the future. As a kid, I was a dumb, stupid idiot who said dumb, stupid things. Like that's not how to be a good person.
Yeah.
And you learn from it. This guy's come out, done an apology video, obviously, because he got banned from everything. And, this is just the cycle of trying to get back into it.
Don't think he should have apologized.
But he makes a good point of saying, like, I'm just a kid, I make dumb mistakes, like, don't just cancel me and kick me out of everything, because...
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah?
If someone wouldn't make the apology unless it negatively affected them, is it a real apology?
That's the thing as well with that. I would rather have an apology from him, or not even an apology, just seeing that he's grown up and changed from it.
Yeah.
Not apologizing for who you were because it feels fake now, because you're just doing it because the masses are saying you need to apologize, otherwise we won't let you back on the platform.
Yeah. Look, if someone wants to be a crybaby and take something out of context, or take something out of the spirit in which it was said, or change my words, or edit it, or just come at me with bad faith for anything, I'm divorced from, one, how they feel, because they didn't consider my feelings either, or they didn't even consider reality, and two, I'm not going to be offended by any action that they try to take against me, because now I have no investment in their opinion. So they can say whatever they want, and I won't care.
Yeah.
That's why I say, go nuts. Sometimes I will, like if it's just the Discord, or it's like guys just hit me with like one too many jabs, or like, yeah, fat bastard, like, yeah, fat bastard, ugly too, stupid as well, like, screw you guys, right?
Yeah.
And then I prank them by making them think that I've been invaded by glowies, right? That's what you get, you monsters. But yeah, this kid, he was on a video game. Now here's another thing, right? Quickly, I can't believe this guy said so many harsh things about, get back in the kitchen, bitch, in a game where you simulate killing each other over and over again. At least he's doing it in the game and not in Chicago.
That's a very fair point there was. Like, and that's the thing too, like, with media, they'll be like, oh, that's not very moral and just the way you're acting. It's like, have you seen the game you're playing or the movies you're watching? They're like, oh, she cheated on her husband. It's like, have you seen, like, Bridgerton or whatever? Like, it's just all sex. Game of Thrones. Like, they call out, immoral injustice and whatever. It's like, well, look at the media consuming and giving kids. Like, you want to talk about, one of the things that they say is that, like, this guy has to be banned because he's got an audience and there's kids looking up to him. Okay, my parents didn't watch everything I watched. They don't know that I watched Yorkcast growing up, and they wouldn't have let me because of the swearing. Like, they didn't do anything really bad. It was just that they'd drop a few F-bombs and whatever.
Yeah.
When stuff happened.
Have you seen Rooster Teeth? They're playing GTA and they're like driving along, and it's like all three of them are just watching the one guy play, and they're all talking.
Yeah.
And there's like a 14-year-old kid driving next to him, and they're what do you call it? Like
proximity chat.
Yeah, but they're what's the word I'm looking for? Not banter, but where it's like trash talking. Trash talking.
Yeah.
Brain fart. 5 hours of sleep here, right? One of the guys is like, hey, do your parents know you're playing with a sex offender right now? And they'll just lose it. And I'm pretty sure the kid disconnected after that. Like, it's just banter, you know? Like, it's just, grow up a bit,
And
like, I got banned from Club Penguin. Well, I didn't do the swearing myself. I gave my Club Penguin account to my friends, and he went in and used every possible racial slur you can imagine. And so it got banned, right?
Yeah.
That's understandable. It's Club Penguin.
Yeah.
Penguins aren't supposed to talk like that.
Oh, there's different colours. Race isn't a thing. Well, actually, no, there was actually some racism in Club Penguin.
Could you imagine if, you know, the penguins from Madagascar, if they talk like actual mobsters? Dude, I want to see that one.
No, but okay, one of the things I want to talk about is just in terms of policing what people are watching. Well, one thing, there's awful media that kids can just watch right now that isn't... There's more than just this guy playing games and saying stuff. And in terms of, you know, reinforcing misogynistic behaviour and whatever, a lot of it comes from media, but the people who let that happen are the parents of the kids.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why we grew up the way we did was because of what our families were like. If you want to help society have better children and better morals and stuff, you look at their family and you see what's happening inside the family. That's why internet's such a big, scary thing for families right now. I remember when serving in Hungary, one of the things that we would always teach and stuff is, you know, having good morals and whatever. And a lot of parents were like, yeah, but how do I help, like, control my kids' internet access? Because there's some kids who are just like, mum's at work, kid's like, sweet, I'm home alone. What am I going to do? Go on a computer and look up whatever I want.
You can put tools in place.
Yeah.
But like a rat in a ship, it'll find a way on and off.
Yeah, exactly. And I've told them that. It's like, you know what? They're going to find the password. They're going to...
Yeah.
The best thing to do is to sit down with your kid and talk about and explain things to them.
Teach your kids the values that you wish you were taught.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Or that you were taught.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? I wasn't taught any values. I was taught nothing. Right? Actually, I was taught how to BS and how to sell stuff pretty okay. And I was taught a can-do attitude by my mum, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, not much at all.
Yeah.
Okay? I have gone through great detail and personal pain and literal psychosis trying to figure out a good way to approach things. Now, I'm still working on getting my life together. Okay? Because I came over here with $50 in my pocket. But, like, I'd like to think that my reasoning skills are okay. And reasoning is the very beginning. Reasoning is where things come in. And from that, you make your decisions and your opinion. Anyway, so
like, I think one of the things that we need to call out on is, like, you know what? You can have mature content on platforms and people being misogynistic. What's more important? What the main issue is, I think, is that kids are watching this because parents aren't being parents.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? This guy wouldn't have much of a platform. Kids wouldn't be watching him and engrossing and doing all that stuff if parents did their jobs. And I understand parenting is hard to do, but... boy, do parents need to just get on the ball more with stuff.
Yeah. You can't just...
And just by banning this one person doesn't mean that another person isn't going to pop up. Like, one of the major things that people were saying on the thread was that, like, boy, I talk like that so like game all the time. The only reason he got banned was because he had a big following.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like, people can... if you want that, ban everyone that has that. But even then, you're going to have kids... Like, I worked at school for a few years. Guess what? Does not matter who you ban or what you do. Those kids' opinions and thoughts are still going to be there, and they're going to be reinforced, and they're going to go somewhere else to find that stuff.
Yep.
Guess what? They can still go to 4chan and do all that posting.
What's wrong with 4chan?
Oh, lots of things.
I agree with that, but also there's many good things about it.
There are, but that's the thing. If there aren't people, parents or parental guardians looking after the kids and saying, hey, this is morally right, we don't do this because of this reason, and have a discussion and help them understand, you know, hey, okay, you can watch a violent movie, but understand that violence in real life is not good. And what you're doing...
No, well, I feel like if Shah were here, he'd disagree with you.
What, with violence?
Yeah, violence is a tool.
Yeah.
Hurting people unjustly
That's what
bad.
I mean. You have that discussion.
Yeah.
And saying, you know, in terms of, you know, just... what I feel here is that game companies trying to parent people or...
Yeah, nanny state,
nanny state stuff,
bullcrap,
and giving the responsibility away from the parents, which basically is making parents have less...
They see themselves... Like, what is a parent? A parent, for lack of a better word, is someone who basically owns another person. If they see themselves as their parents, as our parents, how do you think they feel about us?
Yeah.
They see themselves... It maybe not owning us, but they see us as, oh, you don't deserve your own agency because you'll make bad decisions. And that's another thing I'd like to...
very dangerous, yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing I'd like to respond to you about the, you know, protecting kids. And I do agree with you.
Yeah.
That is the best way to go. But it's almost impossible. Your children will make their own mistakes.
Yeah,
and they should.
and they need that.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's better to have this stuff up there and for them to experience it, have a discussion, and fail, have consequences, make mistakes, than to never have had that experience, and then later in life, something pops up and they're like, I don't know how to react to this because I've never had this before.
Just like if you don't have someone yell in your face on the internet, how are you going to deal with it in real life?
Yeah, like, the main issue with a lot of the stuff is that you're taking away learning experiences and discussions, and you're taking responsibility away from people who should be responsible by just banning someone outrightly, but then also double standard because there's some other people who are talking like this. Like, people were saying, like, this, what do you mean this one guy's banned? Have you played the game recently? Like, that's all you hear.
That's what he said, right? Sure, it was very aggressive, okay? But it was pretty tepid stuff.
And also, why do you think he said it? Do you think he said it because he thought it was going to get banned? No, he's used to saying that. Like, the whole reason why... It wasn't him trying... I mean, obviously he was probably streaming and, had that thing in his head. It's like, you got to be entertaining. But I don't think he had the impression of, I'm going to get banned. It's probably just regular life to him. Yeah.
And also, right, that was, like, bad behaviour. And I don't mean in the sense like, he said bad words. I mean that the fact that he was so emotionally afflicted by a game.
Yeah, that's another...
Like, when I die one too many times in Minecraft, and this is actual serious... Like, this actually happened while you were away. I died one too many times in modern Minecraft. I'm like, this game.
Yeah.
And then I closed it and it's over. Yeah. Didn't happen in Elden Ring though, which is surprising. But yeah, so like the fact that he was so emotionally affected by it, and it's just a sad... Everyone made dumb decisions here.
Yeah.
I
think what the issue here is that you're trying to solve a problem with a really crappy solution.
Yes.
By banning him, you're just trying to cover up the problem with parenting, with people online, with media, with censorship. Just because you banned him doesn't make the situation better at all. People are just going to go to someone else. He's going to, that's the main issue with it, okay? We're not saying that the things he said are right, that he should, have a giant following or whatever. We're not promoting what the words he said, because they're not good words.
Bad taste.
They were bad taste.
Yeah.
But by banning him, you're not solving the problem either. If anything, you're making it worse. Just guess what? We know about him now. We talk about him in this video. More people know about him. And more people are hearing and seeing the words than they did if you just let him have the platform and have discussions with people instead that you know about to say, hey, we don't talk like that. Like that. That's one of the more powerful messages, I think. If he had viewers who are like, hey, I'm 10, please don't use that language. Having stuff like that, I think, would actually maybe make him think about, okay, who am I as a creator, audience? Might have some actual self-growth and whatever, rather than just banning him and him being like, I guess a bit of change for the narrative.
Well, look, if a kid comes onto our YouTube channel, it's like, hey, I'm 10, could you please not say such offensive things, Oz, because I'm learning and I'm an impressionable child. I'm saying, no. Go back to school, kid. Don't you have homework? What the hell? I should filter myself because you chose to watch me?
Well, again, it just depends on the creator as well. I think for us, we're a bit of a different platform in that. But if you're playing like a game like a Valorant or whatever, and your main audience is going to be like 10 to 5-year-olds.
To be fair, though.
Ninja.
To be fair, Twitch thoughts.
That as well is another major concern.
Yeah. Now, do I want those ladies banned from the internet? No. I just prefer they kept it to Chatterbait where they belong.
Yeah.
Where they clearly seem to be aiming for. Because honestly, man, there's a I saw a meme. It's like here's 4 pictures. It was on Twitter, right? It's like, guess which one of these ladies is from Twitch and which one is from Chatterbait. They were all from Twitch. Just
dangerous stuff. So
yeah. Anyway, look, we should probably start wrapping up.
Well, yeah, this is a very big discussion.
We go places.
We went places in this one.
Yeah.
I've been holding back a lot of news
Nathan
stuff.
Juice.
Yeah, all my hot topics. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Leave us your opinions and thoughts, as you always do.
Yeah,
we do read them. If you want Oz to read it, just put the title Oz is fat in the description somewhere. Sorry, that
I'm not offended by things that are demonstrably true, okay?
Oh, okay.
Demonstrably means demonstratively.
Oh.
Not like, monster.
Really? That's really interesting. Yeah. But yeah, we've been the Night's Watch.
Yes.
We had some really good discussions in this one.
Yeah. And once we've finished filming this, which will be in a few seconds, we're going to go get Shad and watch Halo Episode 3.
I want to have lunch first, though. Or I don't want to have my hour... We don't need to have this in the video. What am I talking about?
All right, so, and remember, don't you censor me.